Preface. This book of readings for Holy Week and Easter is a harmony of the Gospel accounts of the events in the life of Jesus from the entry into Jerusalem to the resurrection, and the post-resurrection appearances to the disciples. It has been the custom in the Moravian Church for over 200 years to read a portion of the account interspersed with suitable hymn verses on each day of Holy Week. The harmony may also be used for private reading. We have indicated how the text might be divided for daily use, but congregations are free to adapt it to suit their own particular circumstances. The Good Friday reading is divided into sections to complement the Good Friday liturgy found in the 2010 edition of the Moravian Liturgy, authorized for use in the British province. An English harmony, based on that compiled by Samuel Lieberkühn in Germany, was published in 1771 in the text of the authorized version of the Bible. The section telling of the last days of Jesus was published separately in 1845. In 1928, a revised edition was published using the revised version of the Bible. A further revision using the text of the Jerusalem Bible was published in 1975. The present version uses the text of the new revised standard version of the Bible. Anglicized edition, copyright 1989, 1995, National Council of the Churches of Christ in the United States of America. Used by permission. All rights reserved worldwide. This edition is published with the prayer that it may continue to help people to a fuller knowledge of Jesus and to a deeper appreciation of the meaning of the events recorded.
Prologue. Now the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went up from the country to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. They were looking for Jesus and were asking one another as they stood in the temple, "What do you think? Surely he will not come to the festival, will he?" Now the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that anyone who knew where Jesus was should let them know, so that they might arrest him. When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. They were on the road going up to the city, and Jesus was walking ahead of them. They were amazed, and those who followed were afraid. He took the 12 aside again and began to tell them what was to happen to him, saying, "See, we are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and scribes, and they will condemn him to death. Then they will hand him over to the Gentiles. They will mock him and spit upon him and flog him and kill him, and after 3 days he will rise again." 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him in the house of Simon the leper. A woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But when the disciples saw it, they were angry and said, "Why this waste? For this ointment could have been sold for a large sum and the money given to the poor." But Jesus, all of this, said to them, Why do you trouble the woman? Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial. She has performed a good service for me. For you always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. By pouring this ointment on my body, she has prepared me for burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever this good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her. When the great crowd of the Jews learned that he was there, they came not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests planned to put Lazarus to death as well, since it was on account of him that many of the Jews were deserting and were believing in Jesus.